I'm now starting to open up more, yet it does take time to build trust around people. When socializing with people, I feel that I am too open, despite my quiet nature. I have come to realize that we female Aspies get misunderstood quite easily, and people around us at that moment of time tend to assume that we are not capable of talking and showing our emotions properly. We get told that we are either too emotional, too over the top, or we are just attention seekers after trying to show our emotions. The fact of the matter is here that sometimes there are delays for us that suffer from AS. Again, as I mentioned before, everyone on the autism spectrum disorder scale will vary to what their delays are. Many of us Aspies, however, do tend to try our best to express our emotions as best as we can and to better understand what is going on around us when we are socializing with others. It could be by observing others in our circle, and trying to copy what they are doing at the time, just so that we can feel comfortable. Yes, most of us Aspies do tend to have our own struggles with some of the emotions that we want to show to others, yet we do the best we can for others to understand us. If I misunderstand what someone says, I'll ask the person to repeat what he said to me and maybe say it in a different way, so that I can understand. You see, as mentioned before, I tend to read between the lines and more in depth into the conversations shared with me. During the time we socialize with others, we do the best to our ability to allow others to understand how and what we are feeling at that moment in time. Now and again, most of the young girls with AS, rustically or even melodramatically express their emotions in a way that we mask what we really feel at that moment. For example, to gain a better understanding to what I am sharing, some of us Aspie females may look like we are animated or melodramatic when it comes to showing our emotions. Sometimes, we do tend to use mixed up body languages when we try to express it. Imagine an anime character with bulging eyes and is about to be angry, or even imagine an angry bull snorting. Sometimes, we express our feelings like it has been scripted or written out for us to act a certain way that will then in turn may look like that we are definitely trying to show attention to others around us. It is just playing or fooling people around, which really is not our intention at all. Yes, I have seen time and time again, when this does happen, the other person involved in our circle tends to get really impatient, angry, and frustrated to the point where they may end up wanting to hurt us. When the other person that is getting angry and frustrated, we female Aspies tend to get upset quite easily and quickly. People who had been around me think that I am quiet, shy, calm, cool, collected, and normal. Yet, I may look like this on the upper front hand of you all, but I am just like any one of you lot trying to fit in this world, seeing what I can do to feel accepted and more. For people that has been in my circle or that I have been socializing with, I'm not sure how you guys see me. But, that is by choice factor alone, and you can accept me or reject me in your circle or life. I am currently still learning how to use my emotions and feelings the right way, and I am making progress also into reading other people's body languages alongside with the feelings and emotions. Many people tend to think that we should not have to use our feelings and emotions or let them get in the way of any situation, but to me, if we were using them the right way, it is a good thing, as that will bring out the best in us. I still have the tendencies, as I express my feelings and emotions, of getting misread by people. Yet, as said before, if I try to explain to them how and what I feel in that situation arising at that moment of time, then I am sure that we will get on fine. Communication is the key to success. Sometimes, however, when I do try to express myself, it goes the wrong way to the point where I have my meltdowns and shutdown periods, and I will not talk at all or just withdraw myself out from the group. I am the kind of woman that sometimes likes to keep to myself someday, when I can regather my bearings and go on again. I have noticed that some are quick to judge others on the spot, as I know that sometimes they say it only takes a split second to know the person. Yet, in reality, we know that it takes longer to know the actual person, as it takes years to build up a relationship with them, as a friend or a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. I have noticed that many people do tend to think that they know everything about everyone, yet that is not the case, as we know that everyone around us does change. For some of us Aspie females, we do tend to find it hard to express our feelings naturally, depending on the situations that we are in at that given moment of time. Sometimes, at the end of it all, what we want to show to others based on our feelings and emotions has to be taught, reprogrammed in our brains, or even sometimes, as said before, unscripted. Most of us Aspies then, however, may watch television, a movie, or a drama, and we will take this in and on board when it comes to the exact moment that will match the situation that we are facing, to express these feelings of ours that are genuine. As I said before, the importance of it all when we get misunderstood, is that we need to be accepted, loved, being able to be patient and empathetic and more. We just need to get along with one another and being able to also connect with one another at a different level. I have seen that there are many arrogant, selfish, self-centered people out there, yet as I mentioned before, this is a lack of understanding and awareness based on this condition. As for some people that had come into my circle or path in my life, many may assume the worst out of me and will assume instantly that there is something wrong with me. But do they bother to have the courage to talk to me? Yet, I am real and all my emotions are from my heart. Yet, imagine the feelings that I need to show out to you like a film strip that needs to be gathered and processed, all filled with different everyday emotions, and that most of us are just picking what emotion is sorted to show and express with others around us. Yes, it may look like I will express to you, this played out or scripted. Yet, this will again lead to misreading, misunderstandings and misjudgment from others that are not autistic. That will lead to difficulties in conveying an emotion or what I saw previously or remember, as this is important to most of us Aspies. This is because, the younger female with autism or AS, it is more pronounced to a point where some of us need to externalize the emotions in some ways in taking what was learned and experienced to do so. However, this is not calculated or a cold plan to get or seek attention, and this is not an act. This is not a mirage, as this is real. This is our emotions, and we just need to find the right people around us that will be able to let us be ourselves and express our feelings and emotions the right way, and to be able to encourage and support us along the way. And meltdowns. There are many different type of meltdowns that we Aspies tend to get, depending on the given time or moment of a situation that we are facing. Meltdowns have stages that fall into place when it does happen. However, some will come real quickly for some of us and some slower again, depending on the situation we are facing at that moment of time. I am going to briefly share my definition of the meltdown and also the types and stages that occurs in different stages for us Aspies. A meltdown is associated with people who suffer from AS like me. A meltdown may occur when someone gets overloaded with too much information that is given to him/her at one time. This can also happen more when I am in a situation, like being in a large crowd of people. This will then lead me to have hot or cold sweats, heart racing, panics and fidgets, lightheadedness and being nauseous. The type of overload that I am talking about is the sensory and emotional overload. Imagine yourself playing your video or a media player of a type of music or video that is beginning to buffer. This is one of the chances in how someone with AS may feel at that moment of time. Most of us Aspies, as well as the normal NTS, need some time out stage to withdraw ourselves from any situation as listed above to take our time to process the information that may have been given to us before the meltdown stage occurred. One thing to remember, is not to rush Aspies to get over the situation that they are in or even facing at that moment of time. Most people need to be patient as well as understanding, to help us to get through whatever we are facing at that moment of time. If you can do this for us, then we can do the same for you. It is like a give and take plus a respect factor for both of us. When there is too much information and not enough time, as well as space for us Aspies to process, a meltdown will likely happen. Sometimes, meltdowns will happen and I may have the above symptoms, which I may also lead to outbursts of anger and aggression. Yet, not all of these signs are the same for all of us Aspies, which you can call an insolent. Most of the situations I face every now and then may lead me to a next stage of the process, which is called a shutdown, isolation, or a withdrawal stage. Many of you, while reading this chapter of my book, will be asking yourself a question that I get asked all the time, and that is, how do I cope when this stage happens to me? One of the answers to that is, I imagine myself somewhere that is calm, peaceful, whether I am at a beach or I am in the forest connecting with nature. Another answer is that I have learned to practice some breathing techniques that will work for me. For example, I inhale and count to 4 and then exhale and count to 8. While exhaling, I will then hum and break out into a song. I also focus on the positives and making sure that I have people who are going to be there for me. To me, this is really important. Without the right support, the world will be a lonely place. There are many different types and stages of meltdowns that occur in an Aspie and people with autism spectrum disorder, ASD. The ones that I am hoping to talk about are sensory overload, AS and depression, AS and isolation, AS and shutdown, and temper meltdowns. AS and isolation. Most of us Aspies tend to close ourselves off, from the outside world as well as from people around us, as this is not a threat, but one of our coping mechanisms. I believe that everyone has something like this, as well as how they deal with situations which could be similar or similar to how I deal with different situations, when they arises. I believe that, if we were to be honest and work together no matter what, the world will be a better and easier place for each and every one of us. As I mentioned in one of my chapters, there will be times that certain situations will come to test us in everything we do. But, I believe that we can fight and win whatever it is, by having the right and positive attitude towards that situation. As I said before in my chapter of AS and meltdowns, that there will come a time period where we'll need time out for ourselves, so that we can recharge and regenerate our batteries till our social tank is full again. Sometimes, many of us do tend to break away from the world and people around us, to give us that time to do the activities that we love to do, to keep us entertained, busy and active. We are not doing any of this on purpose, as some of you may think that we are. No, it is quite the opposite, as when we need our time to isolate ourselves, this will give many of us, Aspies, time to distress and release any negative energy that was around us at the time. I believe, as mentioned before, that we need to be with the right people who will support us in our dreams and visions, no matter what it could be. I believe that there will be plenty of people that are negative and just really want to put us down to the point to get to their level. Some of these people can be so unhappy, insecure, and jealous of what we may have got and more. I have, however, conducted a list of the pros and cons of being isolated, which will hopefully give you all a better understanding on how I as an Aspie behave, or some other person. It may not be the same as others around me about how they behave, but it may be beneficial to just accept that this may work for me, and also having to accept whatever works for you. I always want to solve problems before it happens. Pros: decrease sense of discomfort when around with people for too long, as well as getting to the stage where I may be overstimulated. Meaning that, I can't stay around with a lot of people and loud noises for a long period of time. Can control the environment that I am in and making myself comfortable with the environment I am in, as well as not feeling helpless as am at peace with myself. Lack of social pressure when socializing with others, that I may need to act a certain way towards them. I need to be reprogrammed to a point where I have relearned some things I have forgotten. When being alone, however, I like to be on the phone or even on a computer, talking to someone. This will give me the time I need to process my thoughts into what I want to say. I can have more time for myself, for what I love to do and enjoy. Cons: sometimes, there will not be a chance for improving social skills for interacting with people around you. Lack of communication and/or physical contact. Seeing something new and different that may become a chore or even routine, empty space. Nothing to challenge you or to even excite you. As with anger, temper and meltdowns, we all have been through so many struggles, whatever it may be. I do go through some anger problems, yet I am not the only one that has an anger issue. It is how we deal with it that matters. As there are many different types of meltdown phases, which will depend on some factors. The important thing to remember is how we're treated and at the same time cared for. However, some people will struggle so much in handling this situation. Yet, when we go through these stages and phases of the meltdowns, it is up to us to find a way to overcome most of the situations we face. Everyday people, not just us Aspies will go through similar patterns of behavior through these meltdowns. Meltdown, as I said before, happens when a sensory overload occurs of some